True over 50 years ago, true today. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearle. It's more than a set of words, it's our promise. The promise of genuine eye care from your neighborhood doctor. Dr. Pearle didn't just care for eyes, he cared for people. The lives behind each prescription and each pair of glasses. We're a team of experts who are serious about caring for eyes from the exam room to the retail floor. It's what mattered then, and it's what matters now. At Pearle Vision, every appointment is about more than just seeing clearly. It's about earning a patient's trust. They'll find us located right down the street, in the neighborhood, proudly serving families and the generations that follow. That's what Dr. Pearle promised in 1961. And at every eye care center that carries his name, it's a promise we live by today. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearle.
Well, hello. My name is Josh Robinson. I'm the Vice President of Franchising and Development. And I'm here today with my friend Kathleen Steele, who is the Senior Vice President and Brand General Manager. It's pretty cool to say that, Kathleen. And so a little bit about myself before we get into the presentation. I have over 30 years worth of progressive experience in operations, franchising, and development. I work for brands such as Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin-Robbins, Carvel. I actually was an owner-operator early in my career, and then Pepsi-Cola and Getty Petroleum. And working at Carvel, by the way, I made so many Fudgy the Whales, I don't even talk about it, but that was many years ago. For the past 10 years, I've been a member of the Pearle Vision leadership team. When I first joined, I will tell you, I started off in operations. And so I had responsibilities for franchise as well as company operations. And now for the past 4 years, I've been leading with my team the growth of the brand. And that's why I'm excited to be here today as I talked about Pearle Vision. All right, so here's a question I get all the time. And I hear this all the time when I'm at franchise shows. Wait, Pearle Vision franchises? And that's part of our Pearle Vision vision, so to speak, on establishing Pearle Vision as the franchise of choice for investors, ophthalmologists, and existing licensed owners looking to own and operate their own business. As we review the materials today, we believe you'll recognize the combination of the optical industry, the benefits of our parent company's position in the category, and our offering creates a very compelling return for both ophthalmologists and investors. We are, and we're proud of this, we are ranked #1 in the eye care category in our Franchise 500, that's the Entrepreneur magazine, and we're thrilled to share the reasons why we have earned that. So, Kathleen and I will be going over a couple of things here during the next 25 and 30 minutes. Here's what I want you to get out of the presentation. The first is, I want you to learn a little bit about the optical industry. Number 2, the benefits of being affiliated with a global leader in the eye care category. Number 3, the benefits of being a franchisee. Number 4, I get this all the time. Josh, how much does it cost to get in and how much money can I make? We're going to go over some of the key figures and what that looks like. And then the last but not least, what we'll cover is what makes a successful franchisee. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Kathleen Steele.
Thanks, Josh. I'm Kathleen Steele. I'm the general manager of Pearle Vision, and I've spent my career mostly in strategy and innovation. And I entered the optical industry about 12 years ago with LensCrafters. In LensCrafters, I had roles in both eye care and lab innovation, and I joined Pearle in 2016 with responsibility for brand operations. In that role, I led the launch of our supply chain, as well as developing our business analytics function, leading our corporate stores, and our category management function. And all of that you're going to hear more about today. As Josh mentioned, we want to start with what he said was a little bit about the optical industry. I'll try to stick to that because it's a fascinating one. And then I'll also share a few more details about EssilorLuxottica as well as Pearle Vision. The optical market is one that's ripe with potential and opportunity. And that's really being driven by population dynamics that are happening right now. Let's face it, the population is aging. The percentage of the population over 65 is expected to grow by 18 million consumers in the next decade alone. And it is a fact that with aging comes the need for vision correction. In addition, the way we're living our lives is changing. The increased use of digital devices is resulting in eye strain among adults. It's expected to be one of the causes of the increased incidence in nearsightedness among children. Today, it's a $40 billion category, and that's expected to grow over the next decade. Around 60% of the North American population has a refractive error that can be corrected with glasses or contact lenses. In the US, 80% of those people have access to managed vision care benefits, and those benefits help offset the cost of eyewear or contact lenses. Additionally, because we operate in the healthcare space, we've always known our business is recession resilient. But unfortunately, we learned in the last 3 years, it's also pandemic resilient. Our stores were only closed if our operators elected to do so. And many of them found new ways to serve their consumers when everything around them was closed. Let's go a little bit deeper on the market. You hear quite often about the big players. The Luxottica brands we'll talk more about today, America's Best, Walmart. But the attractive outlook for optical is demonstrated by some of the changing dynamics of the industry. Headroom for traditional new outlet growth is shown by new competitors like Warby Parker, but that's only part of the story. Private equity and institutional investors have been focused on acquisition and consolidation of independent practices for over 10 years. Despite this, the market remains extremely fragmented. You can see that almost 60% of the market is still held among individual owners. Many of these independent doctors are either approaching retirement or looking at all of this corporatization of the market and seeing it as a sign that maybe they should exit. And for those doctors, there's several options. They can pursue a traditional sale and exit their business entirely. They can look at a partnership with a consolidator and keep the name above the door, but get the benefit of operational efficiency and supply chain. Or they can franchise the location and have access to a recognized brand and proven operating model, so they can stay involved or not. For this opportunity specifically, we've created a conversion model we call Ignite that Josh will share more about later. Let's pivot from the entire optical industry to Pearle Vision and our parent company, Essilor-Luxottica. Created in 2018, Essilor-Luxottica is the combination of two complementary industry pioneers and is now the largest single player in the global eyewear industry. Luxottica, which was led by our inspirational founder, Leonardo Del Vecchio, transformed eyeglasses from a necessity to a sought-after fashion accessory. And he grew that business into the largest designer and manufacturer of eyeglass frames in the world. That spirit of innovation is mirrored by Essilor, which has been designing, manufacturing, and marketing ophthalmic lenses since 1849. Essilor is responsible for the first progressive lens design, which you may know as the no-line bifocal. With the combination of these two industry powerhouses, our vertical integration now extends to frame manufacturing, lens manufacturing, distribution, lab facilities that manufacture bespoke prescription lenses, retail outlets, wholesale channels, and importantly, our managed vision care brand, iMed. The numbers on the slide tell the story of Essilor-Luxottica, but the underlying message is that you get the benefit of resources from the global leader in the industry. While you may not be familiar with the names Essilor or Luxottica, I'll be honest, I wasn't when I joined. I'm sure you do recognize some of our brands. Oakley, Ray-Ban, LensCrafters, and Sunglass Hut are all in the family. And that's in addition to the frame manufacturing licenses for some of the most recognized luxury fashion houses in the world. Now that we have the foundation of the industry and our parent company, let's focus on Pearle Vision and our offer. Pearle's been around for 60 years, and we franchised it for 40 of those. Our business was founded by Dr. Stanley Pearle, who himself was an entrepreneur. He was the first to combine quality eye care with best-in-class eyewear in a single location. Today, we're committed to operating our stores true to his mission, taking care of the patients and the people behind the eyes, as you saw in the introduction video. The profile of our current stores tells the story of our brand's development and growth. Throughout the 2000s, we invested heavily in corporate store growth, and our franchisees were primarily single-unit owner-operators, which led to an even split between corporate and franchise locations. In 2012, we began refranchising the brand and invested in tools and resources to scale the model. Supported by the launch of our managed supply chain in 2015 and area development agreements beginning in 2017, our profile of doctor and optician ownership to investor ownership is now nearly evenly split. In addition, almost 30% of our licensed owners now own multiple locations. But at the end of the day, regardless of the profile of the owner, the success of each unit is most important. And the strength and stability of our brand is demonstrated by the longevity of our locations, 35% of which are on their third franchise agreement. So what makes the franchise concept successful? The foundation is our brand. We have 80% brand awareness among consumers, and that's a key pillar to supporting our licensed owners' success. In addition, I've talked about our operating model a few times and our automated supply chain, which leverages the vertical integration of our parent company, EssilorLuxottica. The operating model simplifies the business and allows your teams to focus on customer experience and patient care. From a marketing perspective, we're particularly proud of our transition from promotion to equity starting in 2015. Very rarely, arguably never, has a retailer done this successfully. But we were able to lean into the quality of our experience in the eye care centers to differentiate ourselves in a market that's saturated with heavy promotion among retailers. Perhaps most importantly for you, we focus on profitability. We've built a robust benchmarking system with tools that provide regular performance feedback to every store, and we complement that with dedicated business coaching to understand retail optical KPIs and accelerate your business success. We enjoy sharing what makes this brand so great, but it's much more rewarding to have others recognize us. I mentioned before the transition toward equity, and that was supported by an award-winning marketing campaign, which we call Small Moments. It tells the story of the important role eye care, and our eye care centers in particular, play in the lives of vision care consumers. And it's won awards almost every year. Beyond being recognized by industry, we're honored to have been recognized directly by consumers. We've won the Women's Choice Award for 4 consecutive years. The success of our marketing programs and our ability to deliver on them in our stores is validated by our recognition as the #1 retail brand for doctor quality. Since many of our franchisees are new to optical, we want to make sure we do everything we can to set them up for success in the category. In addition to a support team that assists in the design and construction of stores, we have a dedicated team to educate franchisees about the market and teach their teams about day-to-day operations. Our orientation program, which spans 26 weeks, has modules for point of sale, recruiting and hiring staff, creating the best patient experience, merchandising, insurance, and everything in between. And we're there to support you on an ongoing basis. It doesn't end when your onboarding is complete. As I mentioned, we've invested in an operating model, which I had the joy of launching with the brand. And we've got specific tools and resources to create a scalable platform. There's a common system, and that common system gives us a better understanding of each of the business overall and each owner's performance within it. The ability to track common KPIs allows us to benchmark ourselves not only against each other and within a DMA, but against the industry as a whole. Having the right product at the right time was something we knew was critical to the customer experience, but it also drove complexity for owners. Teams were spending time talking with vendors to sell frames that might not be in their best interest and doing inventory to make sure replenishment and their frame boards were full. But our organization has data from over 9,000 retail optical outlets globally, and we've harnessed that to build a managed supply chain and ensure our stores are stocked with best-selling frames. Through that managed replenishment and real-time routing of prescription lens orders, we ensure your time's freed up to focus on revenue-generating activity versus inventory management. To be perfectly honest, this transition was a challenge for our legacy franchisees. Many of them loved negotiating with vendors. They had joy in picking frames that they preferred, or they had systems that they and their teams were really familiar with. They'd been in place for years. But over time, licensed owners that moved to the model recognized the benefits to not only to their daily management of the store, but to their profitability. We now have 90% of our stores that are using this operating model, and that allows them to focus on patient care that's critical to delivering on the brand promise of quality eye care that we speak about in our marketing. On the topic of marketing, we've talked quite a bit about the creative component, but let's share a bit more about structure and execution. All of our licensed owners pay an advertising fee. 75% of that is dedicated to national programs or tools, and 25% goes into a co-op fund that's leveraged at the DMA level. Our focus is always to drive traffic to stores and exams into doctors' offices, and we use every available media channel to do so. The national programs go way beyond commercials you may have seen on TV. It includes a robust CRM platform, a dedicated website for every location, and extensive digital marketing activity. We're only sharing a snapshot of the power of our marketing content today, but I encourage you to visit the Pearle Vision channel on YouTube for all of our commercials, news, and more. With that, I'll transition it back to Josh to cover the numbers, growth, and next steps.
Thank you, Kathleen. So let's jump into the numbers, the question I get asked all the time. So at Pearle Vision, you'll start the application process early, and we want to make sure you have the right amount of net worth as well as liquid capital. We're looking for a total net worth of $300,000. You need a liquid net worth of $100,000. And our franchise agreements run 10 years. It's $30,000 for a franchise agreement. Every additional unit is $20,000, and that's a 10-year agreement as well. So when you look at the total investment, and you'll see two numbers here. Total investment for a traditional, and you heard Kathleen talk about our Ignite, but our traditional is between $500,000 and $850,000 to open up a brand new eye care center. And then when you look at our Ignite program is an independent conversion. So you take an optical shop, you buy out that existing franchisee or that existing owner converts over to a Pearle Vision, and the cost to start is between $70,000 to $300,000. We keep the cost of entry kind of low, and 3 years later you'll remodel that location. Typically, when you're looking for a traditional store, you're looking for 2,000 square feet. You're looking for exam lanes. 1 to 2, you want to be able to grow your business, 25 square feet in for frontage to make a perfect Pearle Vision site. So those are some of the basics. If you look at the next slide, this is where you get to the meat and potatoes, where I get the question all the time is how much money can I make? So we broke this down into tiers. The first tier is our top tier, our top 25%. And it's broken down really into retail as well as total revenue. So on the retail side, that's selling eyeglasses, that's selling frames, that's selling lenses. And on the doctor side for total revenue, that's including the doctor component of it. And we had no royalties. Let me be clear, no royalties on the doctor side. But underneath that, you see top 25%, you see sublease, and then you see employee. And so a sublease is like you hire a doctor, actually you rent, not hire, that's the employee. You rent out space to an OD, an ophthalmologist, and they pay you rent. And so they get charged no royalty on the medical side. You're renting out that space. And on the retail side of the business, you're doing approximately $1.5 million when you sublease, rent out that space to the doctor side. And the EBITDA for that on our top tier is close to 21%, to be exact, 20.8%. Then on the employee side, where you hire the doctor, and there are 13 states that we could do that, the average revenue total is over $2 million at a 18%, 18.6% EBITDA. Then the question is, hey, what does it look on average? That's the next bucket that you see. It averages between 13% to 15.3%. And again, you heard Kathleen talked about, hey, all the headwinds that we have faced for the last 2 years, we actually have done pretty well. Did we take a slight hit? Yes. But the reality is we have a sustainable business. We are essential care. And despite those headwinds, we did pretty good. Now, you take a look at our FDD. The reality is, you take a look at our item 19, we have a full P&L. A full P&L going over all the numbers. So I gave you top line. You could take a look at that full P&L once you get our FDD. So offering and the territories. So let's take a look at this. There are two pathways to enter Pearle Vision. Either a single unit, and that's self-explanatory, or multi-units, where you could do more than one unit. So if you take a look at the single unit, over to the right, you see the single unit. You get a franchise agreement. Franchise agreement goes for 10 years, but there are two pathways you could take. You could do the traditional route that I talked about. That's a new eye care center, 10-year agreement, or you could do the Ignite. That's an independent conversion, all right? And so what's compelling about the independent conversion, we're so confident that we could grow your business. We're not going to charge you royalty on that existing book of business. No royalty on that existing book of business. We're so confident we grow your business that would charge royalties over that existing book of business. So that's pretty cool. Now, if you take a look at multi-unit, in 2017, we got together and said, hey, we really want to start blowing out the market. And we decided to come up with area development agreements. So if you do a minimum of 3 locations, you get a reduction of your royalty. And so we just established the area development agreements. We have approximately 30 of those right now since we started. Some of them go for 15, 20 units. The minimum amount is 3. The more stores you open, the lower the royalty. 3 stores, you get a 5.9% royalty. 5 stores, you get 4.9%. So it pays for itself, obviously, for the more stores you have. As an area development agreement, you have a protected area. And so no one else can come in that protected area to open up a Pearle Vision. But we notice with folks coming in, especially investors that want to open up stores in multiple states or multiple regions, we've decided to go also into a store development agreement as well to get the same benefits as an area development agreement, not a protected area, but you can open up stores where available in a region or in a different state, as long as it meets our proximity concerns. So those are the 2 pathways: single unit, multi-unit. More stores you open, the lower royalty that you will get. So when you take a look at the markets, and if you go to our Pearle Vision website, ownpearlevision.com, you will see this slide. And it's kind of interactive, so it's pretty cool. The area is highlighted in green here, or what we consider priority markets. And a lot of these priority markets, we actually developed hard lines where we would only sell an area development agreement or a seam filler for a single unit, or even an SDA with single stores or multiple stores as well. But it really depends. For example, in California, we want to make sure we're selling area development agreements. We don't want to put in a single store, which would stop from someone coming in and not do multiple stores. But we identified some key areas here. We have Florida, we have Texas, we have California. And quite frankly, we actually started closing down some markets. Last year, we closed down Las Vegas. We closed San Diego. We closed some areas, obviously, as well in Florida. And there are so many areas in Southern Florida that we believe that we could just absolutely blow out as we go forward. But if you take a look at this map, there's plenty of room for growth for single unit as well as multi-unit, area development agreement or SDAs. So franchisee next steps. So what's interesting here is that what are we looking for? And obviously, a lot of people connect us with the eye doctor, optometrist. That's correct. You know, that's one of the key buckets. But we're also looking for opticians, and we're also looking for franchise investors. If you take a look at this slide, over to the right is our franchise investor, Bill Noble. He has close to 80 locations right now. He has an interesting background. He came from the retail sector and actually at one time worked at Lens Crafters and wanted to own and operate his own Pearle Visions eye care centers. And he has worked his way up to 80 locations. But if you're someone that's looking to get into Pearle Vision, you don't have to have, the point here, an optical background. You don't have to be a doctor. We're getting many folks from the QSR industry, telecommunications industry, from all over that are looking at us, even private equity. And we have this increased focus as well to look at those eye doctors to come in when they first get out of school. So what are we looking for to open up a Pearle Vision? And I heard Kathleen Steele talk about this. The number one thing I'm concerned about, those folks in the field are concerned about, you're buying into a proven operating system. That is critical. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have done that. We started in 1960, in 1981, we started franchising, but you're buying into a proven operating system. That is critical. So if you're willing to adapt our proven operating system, you're going to have tremendous amount of success as you move forward. It's those folks that feel like they can reinvent the wheel or do things a little bit differently, you will struggle, to be very transparent. Also, we're looking for folks that really believe in genuine eye care. And what I equate that to is, you know, delivering outstanding customer, or what we call patient experience when someone walks through your door. That is critical to your success. So we are, you know, we're not one of those low-end optical shops. We are best in class. So that patient experience is critical that we offer those folks coming through our doors. The third thing is you need to become an integral part of the community. or franchisees that are doing extremely well really become part of the community. It's the neighborhood type of feel, and they get involved in the community, and people want to support that local Pearle Vision. And last but not least, believe in the brand. You're joining the Pearle Vision family, and I talk about this, and many folks at Pearle Vision talk about you're joining our family. And so we want to make sure we're doing the right thing by the brand, trust in the brand, and the way and the direction that we are going. So how long is this process? It really starts with a phone call, whether it's to myself or a member of my team. We have a discovery conversation, and then after that, we have obviously the candidate does his due diligence. That takes approximately 6 to 8 weeks. Then we execute agreements. And again, I'm giving you very top line here. We can really drill down if you have any questions in reference to this. Then we do site selection. We have an outside vendor that will help you with site selection. Then we go into construction and training phase, and then you open your eye care center. Now, this process from beginning to end is approximately 6 to 8 months. But I talk about this all the time, and you heard this statement before, I'm sure. Be in the business for yourself, but not by yourself. Every step of the way, we're going to support you through this journey. And a lot of times, I will tell you, our franchise community really helps me and my team sell the stores. I used to tell people, and I still to this day tell people, I have the biggest sales team. So everyone on the corporate side of Pearle Vision helps sell Pearle Vision franchises, and our existing franchisees do a much better job, quite frankly, than myself. And so it is a family. We want to make sure we have the right people coming into the family. Learn more about owningapearlevision.com. I advise you to take a look at our website. But in summary, we are putting our energy into quality care, improving top line and bottom line performance of our eye care centers, and improving operations to boost patient satisfaction. The optical industry is at the intersection of healthcare and retail, and it's not only sustainable, but expected to grow as the population ages. Pearle Vision is seeking entrepreneurs who are dedicating to building strong business that provide genuine eye care. Our aim is to help interested candidates evaluate whether Pearle Vision franchise opportunities fit their needs and goals to help qualified candidates to get started on this journey. If you're interested in Pearle Vision, we look forward to discussing the opportunity with you today as well as in the near future. For additional details, as you heard me say before, please visit owningapearlevision.com. We're going to wrap up our discussion today with a video that details how our award-winning marketing team promotes and drives patients to your Pearle Vision Eye Care Center. So I just want to do this. 3 key things I want you to hear from me, at least, about why Pearle Vision. Just to summarize, 1, it's a proven operating system. 2, you heard Kathleen talk about Icon, a full-service supply chain. We had a scalable model. That's important. You don't get trapped within inside your 4 walls. And the third thing is, we know very well that we need to drive franchisee profitability. I know many franchisors look at the top line. We at Pearle Vision, we're looking at our franchisees' bottom line, their profitability. And I will tell you one thing I failed to mention on one of the slides when you took a look at the numbers. We have great margins. 60% of our product, depending what segment you go down, OD-own or sublease, 60% margins when you take a look at what you're selling in your particular stores. So with that, I want to thank you.